We're an island nation, drawn to the sea that surrounds us. A playground for some. For others, it's where they make their living. But the sea's unpredictable.
Things can go wrong in seconds.
When you're out in the boat, every minute counts.
There to save our lives is a volunteer army of over 5,000 ordinary people, ready to leave their jobs, their families, and race to our rescue.
When the pager goes off, your body's full of adrenaline.
Okay guys, go, go, go.
There's potentially a family out there with somebody missing.
Okay.
If it hadn't been for them, I wouldn't be here today.
We'll get you out of here.
They definitely saved my life.
Yep.
Equipped with their own cameras, the crews give us a unique insight into every call-out.
Hey, grab a hand.
As only they see it.
You're doing really, really well, buddy. Guys, we need to get him in. Get him in, get him in.
For those who risk their lives, it has become a way of life.
To know that you've helped save a life.
Let's get you in.
It's such an awesome feeling.
Hold on!
On Somerset's rugged north coast, sandwiched between Exmoor and the Bristol Channel, is the historic seaside town of Minehead.
Minehead is a beautiful place. It's the California of the West Country, where the moor meets the shore.
We've got Exmoor, smallest national park in the country, so lots and lots of walking. The cliffs down that way are quite imposing, and the tide can come right in up to the rocks. And then when the tide's right out, beautiful sand.
The coastline around us is quite rugged, but I think that's the appealing nature of it, and that's why people are attracted to come here and walk it.
Sat on the harbour at the western end of town is Minehead's lifeboat station. Its crew launch around 30 times a year into the waters along this wild stretch of coastline.
Bristol Channel. It's beautiful, we love it. But the tidal range in the Bristol Channel is the second highest in the world. That means that we don't just have tidal heights to consider. There are the significant currents with that water coming in and out of the channel.
It comes in quite ferociously in places. You can be cut off unexpectedly. It can be a dangerous stretch of coast.
Early evening at the end of September.
It was my wife's birthday. We were just getting ready for our evening, our birthday tea, and off went the pager.
When that sound kicks in, it is just, you can't hear anything else. I can't think of anything else. Just like, right, stop what you're doing.
A call for an immediate launch has come in for two walkers cut off by the incoming tide in a remote area 4 miles west of Minehead.
That section of the coast, it's very rocky. It's difficult for the boat to get into places, and it's difficult for Coast Guard to come down from the cliffs. So they would have been well and truly cut off.
Okay, line water is at 1923.
The tide was a couple of hours before high water, and it was a spring tide, so one of our biggest tides that we get here. Fast-moving tide as well, so we knew we need to go there, we need to get them now.
The station's D-class inshore lifeboat is quickly prepared for launch.
Big open Coast Guard, big open Coast Guard. Okay, moving up.
Yeah, good.
The casualty's last reported location is a 15-minute journey away. Once out of the harbour, the lifeboat heads off at its top speed of 25 knots.
When we are told that they're cut off by the tide, the first thing that is going through my head is, are they going to be in the water? The last thing we want is for people to be in the sea.
If the casualty is freezing and going into hypothermia, that completely changes the dynamic of the shout.
We need to get there because they can't escape from the location, and it is dangerous.
The best position that we've got is the eastern end of where we stand.
The Bristol Channel's spring tide comes in quickly, almost half a metre every 10 minutes. But that's not the only danger facing the casualties.
The sun was coming down,
Eastern end of Selworthy's hand.
so once you lose the daylight, it's very, very difficult to then find them.
Your right field.
Yeah.
If we get description. Just 2 males.
30 minutes after the call came in, and with the sun already beginning to set, the crew arrive at the cliffs at Selworthy Sands. But there's no sign of the casualties.
It can be quite difficult to spot people along the coastline, especially if they're wearing dark clothing. They do blend in with the cliff face.
What's more difficult is when people aren't able to draw attention to themselves, perhaps because they're injured.
With concern mounting, the crew scour the shore for any sign of the casualties.
There we go.
Eventually, they set eyes on the stranded walkers.
They were in hiking gear, but it's great if you're trying to camouflage, but not great if you're trying to be spotted. It was a great spot really from Jim.
The two men are cut off beneath sheer cliffs on a rocky strip of rapidly disappearing beach.
You couldn't really have got into a more remote spot if you tried. There was no way out from where they were, and there was no way down from a Coast Guard rescue.
With high tide and sunset in an hour, the crew urgently need to extract the casualties. But it's immediately clear that this won't be easy.
There was a significant wave height. Waves breaking on a beach like that does present a technical challenge for us as crew, because you can't beach land on boulders.
You're just going to hit the bottom of the boat on rocks and rip it open, and then you become a casualty, which makes the situation a whole lot worse.
I said, do you guys rolling in to do a beach landing? Oh yeah, 100% is a beer, isn't it?
With the conditions too rocky and treacherous to approach the shore bow first, the crew's only option is to attempt to veer down, a technique where they drop anchor, turn the boat around and inch towards the shoreline in reverse.
Right, we'll have to keep a good eye on the swell. Yeah. Okay, Ben, toss the anchor. Anchor in.
The plan was to veer in and send a swimmer in to check on the casualties and then support them in coming out to the boat.
But reversing the lifeboat to within swimming distance of the beach is not without risk.
50 metres, locking off. Okay, boys. Make sure it's holding. Yeah, I got it. Visors down, lines under load. Everyone happy?
Yeah. It's a dangerous manoeuvre. By its very nature, you are reversing onto some rocks while a sea comes at you from the bow.
Ben, look. If there's anything big coming on the bow, just give us a shout. 5 metres, Ben. 5 metres.
Boat's effectively being stretched, and it's also getting smashed from waves.
Hold on.
You're fully aware that the closer you get in, the more dangerous the situation becomes.
Now less than 10 metres from the casualties on the shore, the sets of waves are breaking with increasing force.
Wait. Well done, well done, well done.
It's a very violent, unpleasant place to be.
Wave. Okay. Yeah, just ease her into the waves.
It wasn't just as simple as the waves coming in and hitting the beach. They were sort of coming in, bouncing off part of the cliff and then bouncing back at us, so we had it sort of coming in from 2 directions. And then that's when it went wrong.
Wave. Okay, pull that in, pull that in.
A rogue wave came out of nowhere and picked the shoulder of the boat up and dropped us onto the beach.
Whoa.
I looked down over my right shoulder and Sean was almost in the water.
Well done, well done. Starboard side, no, port side.
I was worried at that point. I was thinking we are going to end up on the beach. As a helm, you know, your crew come first. You don't want to be responsible for them not going home at the end of the shout.
I'd drive off, smell you.
It was a very close call, and it was a very lucky escape.
While we're stationary, I'm going to check the engine. Yeah, yeah. Oh, there's definitely a clue.
With the boat safely away from the shore, the crew check for damage, concerned that the rogue wave caused the engine to impact with the rocks.
The tilt system ain't holding.
Isn't it?
No, it's kicking the engine up the more revs I put on. I'm not comfortable going in there if I haven't got...
A crucial part of the engine has been broken and can no longer be controlled in reverse. And with veering no longer possible, the walkers are trapped on the beach.
It's really frustrating because we're so close to the casualties. You want to just get out and help them and get them back into the boat, complete the job.
Minehead ILB, update from us. We've damaged the tilt trim system.
That's the point where you have to leave your ego at the door. You know, we're actually going to put them in more danger by trying to rescue them.
Our engine is broken. Stay where you are. We're going to keep ourselves here, and then we'll communicate if anything else changes.
Minehead ILB, this is Atlantic Coast Guard, request from the...
It's now an hour since the casualties called for help. With high tide imminent and the sky darkening, in their crippled boat, the crew have only one choice: to call in a helicopter.
We spoke to Milford Haven Coast Guard. They did inform us that they had paged a helicopter.
30 minutes later, the helicopter arrives overhead.
At this point, it was about 7 o'clock and the sun had set. The helicopter assessed how they were going to do it, if they were going to do it.
Currently, this is quite a risky wind in the dark. The wind direction of the high cliffs. When the tide recedes, would you think it possible to pick them up from the beach?
With a helicopter rescue judged too dangerous, the Coast Guard decide that the casualties are safe for now, having climbed to a spot just above the high water line. The men are instructed to wait for another 3 hours until the tide is low enough for the lifeboat to come back for a second attempt. So the D-Class and its crew head back to Minehead.
It can be very nice, you know, there on the beach and see the lifeboat driving away, and it's never nice for us to be on the boat driving away, but sometimes it is what's best.
At 11 p.m., almost 6 hours after the original call came in, the Minehead crew prepared to relaunch in the second stage of the rescue.
I took the D-Class again, knowing it's to go back to the same casualties. You got all that adrenaline running through you.
This time, the D-Class has backup, the station's larger Atlantic 85 and its crew.
If needs be, are you both happy to jump in?
Yes, mate.
Back at Selworthy, the receding tide has revealed a sandbar suitable for a beach landing. Helped by the lights of the Atlantic, the D-Class approaches. This time, bow first.
Okay, in.
And finds the 2 casualties ready and waiting.
We're sorry that you've had to come out on your Friday night.
We spoke to the casualties, made sure they were okay, got the boat in the water again, and then we went over to the 85.
We sat them in the comfy seats, popped some survivors' life jackets on them. They were quite embarrassed. One of them said, I can't believe that we've done this. They were aware that there was a big rescue operation happening.
Yeah, I was very cross with myself and very apprehensive as to what was going to happen, and I know better, and I should have known better.
Experienced Walker James and his friend George were in Somerset to tackle a stretch of the southwest coast path. After a pub lunch in Minehead, they set off towards Porlock, 5 miles to the west.
We knew it had just been low tide, so thought that we could actually cut out the hills between Minehead and Porlock. We thought we'd make it easy on ourselves for the first day.
But after a few hours, they began to regret their decision.
I was concerned that we weren't making the progress we should have been making and that we weren't moving across the Grand as quick as we needed to. We decided to push on, and that was a bad call.
After rounding what they hoped was the final headland, with the spring tide now flooding, James realised they were cut off.
The higher up the tide got, the more under the cliff face we were. I was starting to panic. That's when we made the decision to call the Coast Guard.
There we go.
They spotted the lifeboat.
Okay, Ben, toss the anchor.
But relief soon turned to dismay.
I felt guilt that we'd put other people in that position, that now were having to obviously put their lives at risk trying to rescue us.
Wait there. Our engine is broken.
Apparently this is quite a risky one in the dark.
My heart sank because it was like, so the helicopter can't rescue us, the boat can't get to us, they can't come down the cliff face.
We'll do a beach landing. Yeah, mate.
6 hours after first raising the alarm, James and George made their way across the sand in the dark to be rescued.
To finally be on the boat and be on the way back to safety was a great relief.
All right. One at a time.
Like a big weight had been lifted off your shoulders.
No worries, mate.
The lifeboat crew have my greatest respect. They're all volunteers and give up their own time to rescue idiots like me.
2 minutes before midnight, both Minehead lifeboats finally returned to station.
Leaving casualties behind, you do feel like you haven't done a proper job of what you're there to do. But to be able to go back again, to pick them up, see how thankful they are that you're there to pick them up and everything, you know, it makes it worth it.
6:30 it is, so the crew meeting starts now.
Whatever their individual background or experience, the RNLI's 5,700 crew all share the pride of pulling on the famous yellow jacket.
I joined the lifeboat crew back when I was 17. Mum wouldn't sign my paperwork, but Dad said he would sign it. Yeah, I haven't looked back since.
My pager, I never leave home without it. It's a badge of honour. It really is.
I really enjoy helping people. The feeling is really heartwarming. It's just a really big part of my life. I can't imagine it being any other way.
If you ask the lifeboat crew why they do it, they won't be able to tell you why they do it.
Cheers, mate.
Nobody ever does it for the bravery, for the glory.
Right, it's okay. Hold on my hand.
It's always to give something back.
That's why it makes me proud, just to be involved in something that is really close to everyone's hearts. Proud as punch, yeah.
Lying on Scotland's east coast, halfway between the English border and Edinburgh, sits the picturesque harbour town of Dunbar.
So one of the best things about living in Dunbar is that the light's never the same twice, and the sea takes on lots of different colours, different shades of blue, and against the blue sky, it's a fantastic place.
Dunbar on a good day is really sunny, walking down the high street with an ice cream, hoping the pager doesn't go off so you get to enjoy the time with the kids. And yeah, it's a small town, you always bump into someone you know, so it's a magic place.
In Dunbar, there's a strong sense of history. It had a castle which has changed hands between Scotland and England over the years, taken over and defended resolutely many times.
Sitting by the harbour and its castle ruins, there's been a lifeboat station in Dunbar since 1808, when its crew would have been drawn from the local fishing industry. Over 200 years on, things are a little different.
We have people from many walks of life. And I think it's really important because no matter where they come from, they all bring something to the team.
And really now we have an eclectic mix of volunteers.
To walk in through that door for the first time and say, hey, I'm interested in helping. It's a very nerve-wracking thing to do. So I think whenever someone comes in through the door, everyone starts to try and make them feel really at home. It's something that I am very proud of. I try very hard to be inclusive for others coming into the crew as well.
That's something that Andrzej, a window cleaner from Poland, discovered when he was welcomed to the Dunbar crew 6 years ago.
In Poland, I volunteer on my local fire station, so I'm always try to help people if they need help. So Ed and I got open day, so just pop in, leave my details, and that's it.
Someone from another country wants to volunteer and be part of the local community. It's a testament to Andy's community spirit and his willingness to get stuck in.
When I joined the crew with no sea experience, I was very nervous because I speak a different language. I know that they speak different accents. They speak a proper Scottish accent, but I'm working with Scottish people, so I've got the accent as well.
You can speak a lot better English than me sometimes, so we can. I'm Irish. I get called up all the time for either talking too quickly or coming up with phrases people don't know. So I think Andy does a lot better than I do.
I'm very proud to be a part of the Dunbar NLI crew. To have a chance to save someone's lives at sea is feel amazing.
For the station's crew, Dunbar's North Sea coastline brings its own set of challenges.
When the wind picks up and the swell is there, it's an unforgiving environment, but we also have quite rugged coastline with cliffs and rocks.
A lot of the local kids love to go climbing in around those rocks. It looks quite safe to walk along. In reality, though, the rocks at that part of the harbour can be really dangerous.
A calm but gloomy afternoon at the end of June.
The pager went off about 5:30.
I was up at the supermarket, and luckily my kids have heard it countless times before. They knew exactly what to do, jumped out of the car, and I went off to the station.
I was immediately told to get kitted up. When that happens, you instantly know that this is a serious job.
An urgent call has come in from the Coast Guard about a boy who's fallen from rocks at the back of the harbour wall, a notorious spot for accidents called Johnson's Hole.
I just think about what we can expect. You can broken your neck. That's the worst scenario.
A few years ago, we answered a call around there for an angler who slipped, was knocked unconscious, and then died.
Okay.
It was devastating to see that life could be evaporated so quickly. When you hear that a boy is in almost the same area and is hurt, then you just feel the worst.
The station's D-Class heads out of Dunbar's walled harbour, heading for the rocks of Johnson's Hole.
So I was already in my head, I was thinking, this could be absolutely life-changing for this child.
At full speed, it takes less than a minute for the rocks to come into view.
When we come in the corner, we just see the ambulance crew is on the scene already with the boy, the Coast Guard teams as well, and a firefighter as well.
There was a Coast Guard and the two paramedics were sitting down with the casualty themselves. This was a young person. I didn't know the age at that time, but I knew they were young.
Got a caller? Yeah.
One of the paramedics called to us and asked if we had a neck brace.
Keep your head nice and relaxed on you, Harry. You're doing a brilliant job, all right?
Another paramedic was holding the head of the casualty. You know then that the danger could be that there's a potential spinal injury and which could lead to paralysis. So therefore we have to keep the head, neck and spine rigid and as secure as possible.
So when I first saw the casualty, the first thing that flashed through my head was this could be my child. In my head, I was just trying to think, how do I make this just as normal as possible for this kid? Because he is going to be worried.
The casualty, an 11-year-old local boy named Harry, is being attended to in the position he was found by the paramedics.
There was a little bit of pins and needles in my foot. In your foot? Like on my shoulder.
Is anything broken, do you think?
So, possibly foot, ankle. He's complaining of back pain as well, but treated as if he has got a spinal injury. Okay.
Right.
All right.
He seems scared. If I sort of put myself in his shoes, maybe wanting to move but not being allowed to because people are holding him down, and thinking about, you know, who are all these people, all these strangers, I'm going to be in trouble here. What have I done?
Hang in there.
So what's going to feel a little bit
I can hold if you
uncomfortable,
want.
all right?
There you go.
But that's just going to help hold your head nice and straight.
Is that comfortable there, is it? Harry?
What?
Is that okay or is it sore?
He was alert. He was able to articulate what happened to him. He was able to point to, or at least motion, I think, with his eyes as to the ledge he'd fallen from.
Where did you fall from?
The little ledge of the yellow bit.
There?
No, further back, behind you.
Right behind us, this ledge?
Oh, right, okay. All right.
That gives an indication that it was perhaps maybe between 10 and 15 feet that he'd fallen.
I landed there, but the water wasn't there at the time.
Gibbon Harry has fallen from the height of a first-floor window and has potentially sustained broken bones and spinal damage. Moving him to the ambulance risks causing life-changing injuries.
Because one false move could have serious consequences for him.
That's going to be the easiest way to get him out on the boat. Yeah.
We realised that there was no way we were able to get this casualty out back up the way that the paramedics came down. And this is going to have to be exfiltration by boat.
For extracting, we've got a big basket, hard basket stretcher.
Yeah.
That one?
Yeah.
Johnny, so we're just going to see where it might go. Do you want to try and... You mean in alongside, Adrian?
The environment's extremely challenging. You know, large rocks, it was slippy underfoot.
Say we could wedge it in there. No.
Rather than laying the stretcher down and rolling him into stretcher, which is what we would typically do in that situation, because of this potentially a spinal injury, wasn't actually possible to do that.
Come backwards, buddy. Come under his legs. Okay, pal, I know.
Okay. Can someone come on this side, top up his body on this side?
Okay, Harry, pal. Okay.
My
friend, Harry.
If we move him in the wrong way, you know, your mind runs away with you and what the potential possibilities could be.
Everyone ready? Yeah. Everyone ready? Yep. Ready, set, and lift. We've got you, Harry. We're going up the outside.
Oh, yeah. That's right. Come on,
Did the board come in more?
Got it. Okay.
Perfect. Everyone happy?
Yeah.
Just lie down. Nice and relaxed, pal. You rest your head back for me. You're going to go nowhere, I promise you.
You're all right.
Back, Harry. Just relax your neck. You're fine.
Well done.
All I'm thinking about again is this could be my kid, you know, and I would want whoever's looking after my kid, I want to make sure the kid's fine.
You're all right, pal.
You're all right.
Well done. Well done, pal. I know it looks scary, but it's just to get you out of here, eh? Because you picked an awkward place to get stuck, yeah?
When we put the boy on the stretcher, then we very, very careful put the stretcher on the lifeboat.
In here, okay? On 3, 1, 2, 3.
With Harry safely on board, the crew begin a steady journey back to harbour and the waiting ambulance.
I just try and make it as normal as possible for him, just talk to him. I try to keep eye contact with him the whole time and just get him talking to me and directly to me.
This be some story to tell your pals at school tomorrow, wouldn't it? Do you reckon you'll be in school tomorrow? No. Maybe on Tuesday. Yeah. So now we're in smoother water, Harry, okay? We're going to speed up a wee bit for you, okay? But if it gets uncomfortable, you just tell me, all right? It's absolutely no problem. We can easily slow down again. Is that comfortable, yeah? Still okay, good job. Okay, so let's stop now, okay? Right beside the ambulance, all right?
Right. Okay, 1, 2, 3.
So we made a decision we would carry him into the ambulance on our basket stretcher. Again, I was with Harry, just wanted to make sure that it was a familiar face that he was seeing the whole time.
Do you guys need a hand to scoop him out? Yeah.
Steady. 1, 2, 3. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. There you go, eh?
Perfect.
The paramedics got him onto more oxygen and got him settled down. And at that stage then, that was job over for us. You know, we had done our job.
Cheers, guys. Harry, all the best, buddy, all right?
Harry was rushed to Edinburgh Royal Infirmary, leaving the crew to wait for news about the extent of his injuries. A few days later, Harry's parents got in touch to say that although he'd broken a bone in his foot, he'd managed to avoid any damage to his spine.
We don't always get messages to say what's actually happened after, but on this one we did, and it made a massive difference to us. It's just an immense feeling of relief. And being able to go back with the rest of the crew and sort of talk through what you've done afterwards it's a huge feeling.
A shout like that leaves you with immense satisfaction, knowing from his family that he wasn't seriously hurt and was going to be able to make a full recovery. But it felt like we've done a good job that day. The reasons you join the RNLI, the reason you become a volunteer, that's all encapsulated in a shout like that.
"90 miles from Dunbar, set by the waters of the Firth of Clyde on Scotland's west coast, is the small town of Largs.
I may be a bit biased about how it describes Largs, yeah. The scenery around here is fantastic.
For a lot of people in Glasgow, it's where you'll come to get your ice cream, your really great fish and chips, get their little fix of the seaside.
Used to do a thing called Down the Water. They would get the paddle steamer. They would leave Glasgow and they would come down to Largs. Even now, a warm summer's day, bank holiday day, you can see the ferry queues with the amount of cars coming into town. Largs becomes a standstill.
Standing proud on the town's seafront, there's been a lifeboat station here since 1964.
So the station in Largs, you really can't miss it. It's a gorgeous building. It's always sort of got a little hub of activity around it.
I texted Andrew and I was like, if you're short of crew, let me know and I will come.
So we're coming up onto our 60th year, so yeah, we've been here for a while.
Largs' current vessel is an Atlantic 85, a high-speed inshore lifeboat perfectly suited to the demands of the cruise patch.
Largs station covers approximately 90 miles of coastline. There's a lot of islands round about.
The water around Largs is quite protected, but it can take advantage of people if they don't know the dangers.
Of all those dangers, one is responsible for around a third of the station's shouts.
We get strong easterly winds because of the hills that we have behind Largs. It seems to funnel down off the hills and build up speed. So what looks like a nice calm sea can become very difficult very, very quickly.
We say that the sea is a fickle mistress, but actually, like, the wind has its own personality and it can change things pretty quickly. And then all of a sudden you are dealing with a different beast.
And that's when you tend to find that people get into trouble.
The middle of June, early evening, with a strong easterly offshore breeze.
And I was actually cooking my tea when the pager went.
A female paddleboarder is reported to have been blown out to sea off Seamill Beach, 7 miles south of the station.
Because I had been a potential person in the water, there was definitely a sense of urgency that we had to get down as quickly as possible.
Yeah, got it.
7 minutes after the pagers sounded,
engines into the water.
Largs Atlantic 85 is launched.
Both ropes clear.
And with its crew of 4, sets off for the paddleboarder's last reported position.
Worst case scenario, I'd say, especially with paddleboarders, are they still on the paddleboard? Or are they literally just swimming and treading water waiting for rescue? It becomes a lot more serious at that point.
With Seamill 10 minutes away and up to 25-mile-an-hour offshore winds, the crew's worry is that the paddleboarder could be blown far out to sea before they arrive.
Although the Atlantic 85 does 35 knots, sometimes it just doesn't feel fast enough and you wish you could get there quicker.
"20 minutes after the call came in, the lifeboat reaches Seamill.
You've got a grey sea, there's waves coming towards you. Looking for a head, even 100 metres away, it becomes very difficult to see. It's such a small margin for error. Definitely pressure builds when you're on a call-out like this.
With sea temperatures here struggling to get above 12 degrees, even in midsummer, the effects of hypothermia can start to take hold after around half an hour in the water.
I've been on call-outs before where we haven't found a casualty. You just always do the best that you can and hope that it's a good outcome in the end.
With concerns mounting that the casualty might have fallen off her board, there's an update from the Coast Guard team on Seamill Beach.
Came across the radio that we'd actually slightly gone further south of where the person was.
Over there. Yeah.
Guided by the Coast Guard team on shore, the crew double back.
Yeah.
And spot the casualty.
Hello!
So when we made contact, they were approximately 500 to 600 metres away from where they'd originally gone into the water, but the wind was still pushing them offshore. So once we got a little bit closer, you could start to see the person on the board.
You're all right. That's okay.
You could see that she was extremely scared. She was physically shaking. But the big thing was the fear, the look of fear that she had in her eyes at that point.
I'm gonna die. I'm trying to get back. Where did you launch from?
So I was just kind of putting my arms around her just to reassuring her.
No.
It's a lot scarier than you think it is.
You've done the right thing, sticking to it.
I was trying to paddle back.
With the casualty on board, but distressed, cold and wet, the crew now have another worry.
Okay.
Come on.
Andy, you know what you're doing with that, yeah?
We're always concerned about hypothermia. With the clothing that she was wearing, she's going to be getting cold really, really quickly. So at that point, priority is trying to get her warm.
Oh, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
The casualty now needs to be rushed to shore to be assessed and warmed up by the waiting Coast Guard team.
I thought I was gonna die.
She just kept saying that she thought she was going to die. She still seemed very panicky, very distressed. So I took the role of just reassuring her. I think just having another female probably helped that as well. I'd like to think it made her feel safe.
Thinking that no one's coming for help is just a helpless feeling. Just thinking that you might die.
Earlier that evening, Ukraine-born Natalia and her partner had made the short journey from their home to Seamill Beach.
I have had my paddleboard for 2 years. I was really excited to go in the water. Then all of a sudden, things changed. And I felt really strong gust of wind and I got knocked off the board.
Natalia clambered back on, but now without a paddle and with the area's infamous offshore winds suddenly picking up, she found herself pushed out to sea.
I couldn't see anybody on the beach at that point. Everybody were like small dots. And I was really cold, shivering, and I felt like my hands couldn't hold onto the board.
Having been blown out almost half a mile in a matter of minutes, Natalia feared the worst.
I was feeling scared, absolutely panicking and thinking if nobody notices me out there, I might be taken away to the ocean. I felt devastated finishing your life like that on a paddleboard, and I would never think it could happen to me.
Luckily, Natalia's partner could see she was in trouble and had immediately called the Coast Guard.
I didn't know that the help was coming. Then all of a sudden,
over there.
I turned to the left and I could see the lifeboat.
Hello!
I felt relieved.
You all right?
And thinking that, oh my God, I actually will get back to safety and I will live.
This is Jennifer, this is Andy, I'm Brian, that's Andy. No, you're not. No.
When I go on the boat, a female crew member cuddled me and made me feel safe. It was absolutely amazing to get such support from the crew.
Oh, thank you.
Okay.
Oh, thank you.
45 minutes after Natalia launched from Sea Mill Beach.
Give me your hand. Okay. There we go. Okay.
She was delivered safely back to shore at nearby Porton Cross Harbour, where the Coast Guard and her relieved partner were waiting.
In this case, we were very lucky that the partner responded as quickly as he did. It was literally within about 30 seconds of her falling off the board that he called in the Coast Guard because he knew she was in trouble. Having that response time reduced the way it was fantastic.
Well done, troops.
If she'd been out on her own, and she would have been blown out to sea. You don't want to think what could have happened at that point.
Despite her ordeal, Natalia was checked over and sent home that evening.
The lifeboat crew saved my life that day, and I will be forever grateful for what they've done to me.
People do things, they get into some difficult situations. They don't ask to be there. Going out and rescuing somebody like we did that night, yeah. For me as a helm, I'm very proud of my crew at that moment.
Over 350 miles away on the south bank of the River Thames in Kent is Gravesend.
I really love this section of the Thames. There's something really special about arriving early in the morning, just as the world is waking up and seeing the river come alive.
We have huge cargo traffic, passenger ferries, huge container ships. I had no idea these size vessels were on the River Thames until I started. Coming alongside them is mind-blowing.
Gravesend Station covers a 26-mile stretch of the river with their Atlantic 85 lifeboat.
The river at Gravesend, very fast-flowing, very busy, lots of commercial traffic, which does make it very dangerous for any of the users.
Launching to around 150 shouts annually, Gravesend is one of the busiest RNLI stations and is crewed 24/7, 365 days a year.
We want to be able to respond to an emergency within around 90 seconds. Rather than being on pagers, we have crew members permanently ready to go.
For mum of two, Lydia,
In you come.
Thank you.
it's a commitment that has recently posed a challenge.
So this is our 3-year-old daughter Lily and our son Laurie, who is 11 months old. Yeah. I joined the lifeboat crew about 18 months ago, but then became pregnant and took a year off.
But after 6 months of maternity leave, Lydia, with the support of husband Luke, decided it was time to return to duty.
The first few months were definitely challenging logistically.
I'd have to stay really close to the lifeboat station and do sort of loops with the 2 kids and then bring him back in for breastfeeding every 3 hours. So that was quite intense.
Yeah? Do you want to go on Mama's boat? You have to wear your wellies. I really love being a mum, and I really love the time that I spend with Lily and Laurie. It is a little one. Oh, look at you. But there are also other things that give me fulfillment, and I do feel a sense of pride to be part of a tradition that has lasted for so long, and, you know, perhaps something that either my daughter or son might want to be part of.
An overcast summer's morning in late August.
We'd just done shift handover. I was just in the crew room, sat on the sofa, and then all of a sudden, the bell went off. When the bell goes off, we all give each other the dart eyes, waiting for that signal. And then the signal was given.
A 999 call has been received about a boat upriver seen bailing out water.
And as soon as you know that a vessel is taking on water, you know that the situation is urgent. Boats can go down very quickly, and this was the first shout since having Laurie, and so I was fairly nervous.
Line away!
With no need to wait for crew to arrive, the station's Atlantic 85 is launched within 90 seconds.
Okay, pairing up.
You don't know how long they've got. You can suddenly end up with all your casualties in the water at the mercy of the elements.
How many casualties on board? Are they close to capsizing, sinking? We need to get there.
Do you want me to engage comms with them?
Yeah. To add to the crew's concerns, the casualties' reported location is close to the river's busy shipping lane.
I was very concerned for them. That's a very tight channel in the river that's quite difficult for the ships to make. So if anything's in their way, there's nothing the ship can do. They will just plough into them.
A vessel sinking or capsizing in the River Thames is definitely not what you want.
6 minutes after launching, the crew spot the casualties' vessel, a 40-foot pleasure craft, out of the shipping lane but beached in the river's low tide shallows.
He shouldn't be there.
We could see that this vessel was in trouble. It was tilting. It was clear that they had run aground.
London Coast Guard, this is Gravesend Lifeboat. That's us on scene, just approaching the boat now. Over. Hello.
As we got closer, they did poke their head out. So then there's a relief that we can communicate with someone.
How bad is it? Okay.
There were 4 people on board, a man and 3 women. They were very relieved to see us.
With the casualties' boat no longer floating due to the amount of water it's taken on, the crew need to urgently assess the situation. So while the Atlantic is moored alongside, Connor boards.
Oh, wow.
And discovers the hull of the boat completely flooded.
When I got on board, I realised how serious the situation was. The skipper was topless from having to bail out the water by hand on his own.
Is there?
That means that they have got water coming into their boat somehow, so they've only got a limited amount of time to get that water out.
With the boat sitting on the riverbed, the crew need to act fast to prevent it being swamped by the Thames' now rising tide. So they immediately bring on board the Atlantic's salvage pump.
Gonna start this up.
The salvage pump is a little petrol pump. Tiny little pump, but very small and mighty.
Let's have it firing out the other side, just so we can see how much is coming out.
We're trained to use the salvage pump. You put the one end into the floodwater, the other end outside of the casualty vessel, and it extracts the water.
So we knew we had a very narrow window of opportunity. If the salvage pump wasn't keeping up with the water intake, there would have been nothing we could do for the vessel.
The casualties remain our priority. If we can't get this vessel floating again, we need to get them off board into safety.
Which is more difficult than it sounds, separating a skipper from his vessel.
That's one find where it's leaking.
Yeah.
I might be all right.
Yeah, hopefully.
The crew must now bank on the salvage pump removing the water from the boat more quickly than it's coming in.
That's it.
So the salvage pump was running at full pelt for about 45 minutes.
They're going down? Yeah.
Over that period of time, the water in the engine compartment started to lower.
Going down quite nicely.
The water level had dropped significantly. The boat was now floating.
He's floating quite nicely now, isn't he?
There was a massive relief in the skipper. He just sort of that sigh of relief as he knew his boat was going to be okay.
And then it becomes clear that saving the boat isn't the only cause for celebration.
Oh. Nice.
My sister, my sister's husband, my best friend, and I were planning this trip for over 2 years. So big birthday, and it was a birthday never to be forgotten.
Chrissy had flown in from the United States especially for a week-long birthday trip on her brother-in-law Tom's boat. That morning, they set out from Essex upriver towards central London.
Everybody was buzzing. Chrissy was up on the front of the boat taking pictures straight away. She just couldn't wait. She wanted to take pictures of all the bridges up the Thames.
We were very excited to see all those iconic buildings, and we brought the champagne on board because I was determined to have a glass of champagne on the morning of my birthday.
But the journey's first bridge, the QE2, had only just come into view when the boat began to struggle.
It was so sluggish. And when I looked behind me, and I thought, well, the stones looks quite low as well. So I opened up the back hatch, and lo and behold, full of water.
So then the atmosphere changed quite radically.
Concerned they would sink or lose power and drift into the shipping lane, experienced skipper Tom took decisive action so he could investigate where the water was coming from.
I drove the boat into the side of the bank so it couldn't sink because I didn't know what the problem was at that time. The ladies were a little bit, I don't know, scared if you like. They was just panicking a little bit, you know?
I know Tom can fix anything, but at the same time, there was a lot of water and it wasn't going down quick enough for my liking.
While Tom began bailing out, Chrissy called for help.
I was worried. I felt very, very great relief when I saw the RNLI.
Hello! What's happened?
It was wonderful.
What do you say?
Don't know what caused it at the moment.
No, not yet. We're just below the engine, so we're going to run them up in a bit and have a look.
Having drained the engine compartment with the salvage pump, the source of the water coming into the boat was quickly identified.
Yeah, just that. Pipes just popped off.
The port engine.
Simple as that, eh?
Yeah, best case scenario.
A cooling system hose had detached from one of the two engines, diverting water into the boat rather than back out to the river.
It took 2 minutes to fix. 2 minutes.
Yeah, it's an adventure, isn't it? It's a story to tell. Everyone loves a story.
I opened the champagne. Immediately, I realized we were going to be safe. It was my birthday. I wanted to celebrate.
You know, not many people actually get to bail water out, so that's a story that will stay with you.
You're her birthday surprise.
Good, yeah.
I'm waiting for you to start stripping off clothes.
I'll start with the helmet.
I think it was Chrissy that said, "Cool, he's all right, isn't he?"
I'd offer you some champagne, but I know
This is definitely not something that happens often. No, it's not a part-time career I want to take up.
Okay, do I get a picture of that?
You can.
If I was about 30 years younger, I'd have swept that young man off his feet.
Perfect. Ah.
Yeah, we're looking good. Yeah, both engines are working fine now.
Yeah.
You're welcome. Enjoy your birthday. I hope you do have a great day.
Anytime. Thank you.
Although the vessel was now able to sail under its own steam,
Yep, stern line clear.
Tom made the decision to abandon Chrissy's birthday trip and return to his mooring in Essex.
Yeah, nice big.
Yeah, lovely. Shame that their trip's been ruined.
Yeah.
So the crew chaperoned the boat back downriver.
Nice little job, that one.
Yeah, good job, everyone.
I'm just beyond grateful that the RNLI was able to come out and help us. So we had a happy ending, and I'm not planning on going on a boat next year.
Almost 3 hours after launching, and with the party boat safely on its way home, the crew returned to station and to duty of a different kind.
We completely sort of lost track of timing, and then Lydia's partner was there with a baby. He was very relieved to see us come through the door, and Lydia saved the day again.
It was good to get my first shout under my belt after maternity leave and to feel like I was in my stride again. All in a morning's work.
After her rescue off Seamill Beach near Largs, Natalia has had time to reflect on her ordeal.
I think it did affect me looking at the water just now, but I do feel a bit different about the sea. I just think that you can never predict what's going to happen. Things can switch in a second. I really appreciate everything that Largs RNLI did for me, but hopefully this is not going to happen to me again.
At his mooring in Essex, Tom has been busy repairing the water damage to his boat.
I've had the boat for 8 years, and I've never had a problem until the day I managed to go on our holiday up the Thames. Chrissy lives in America. She'd come over specially, really, to do this trip. Even today, I feel a bit, you know, I wish we could have done it.
And it's an opportunity Chrissy won't have again, as Tom has reluctantly decided to sell up.
I've had lots of fun on it, lots of time with my grandchildren, family. You know, yeah, I'm going to miss her, but, you know, nothing lasts forever, does it?
I've never been so scared in my life.
Peer support.
I can't lose my dad. You know, he means everything to me.
It was quite a frightening sight, really.
Metal meets granite. Never tends to end that well.
That's 2 stand-up paddleboards.
We've got one of the casualties, but we've also got 2 empty paddleboards.